That was terrible. 78%. That was terrible. $87. So bad. That should not be below 90. $94. Could be better. Could be better. Many misses. Yeah, 85%. But too many misses. Oh, this is the one that starts slow and it speeds up. This is all about working on smoothness. Smooth reactivity without shaking or predicting. And then it progressively gets faster. 84%. I'll take it. I can do better though. I can do better. I can get that over 90. %. I'll take it. But I can still do better on that. It's similar. It's all about smoothness and reactivity. Want to focus on your mouse not shaking, your hand not shaking, I should say. %. That could be better. We can get that over 70. We should be getting that over 70. Same thing here. It's all about smoothness, reactivity, and smoothness. You don't want your mouse to be shaking anytime you change directions. And it will change directions a lot like this. But you want to be smooth with your transitions, or as smooth as you can be. Got a little shaky there. The smoother your reactivity is, the more shots you'll hit on target, the less shots you'll miss, and the more controlled you are, obviously. So smoothness is always the thing you should aim for. You always want to be smooth. So, and again, speaking as a casual mouse and keyboard player, I'm not a pro by any means. I don't do well take measurements or anything like that. I aim train simply to be able to play, to keep up when I play FPS games. Again, I don't consider myself a top tier player or anything like that. I am 100% a casual, but I am someone who played, you know, almost 90% of my life I played on controller. And now, as an older gamer, I moved over to mouse and keyboard just because I did it as a personal challenge and it just kind of stuck. And then I just kind of fully transitioned to a mouse and keyboard player. But you know, I'm not a lifelong mouse player. I'm not, I'm not any of that. I'm a lifelong controller player turned mouse player. Self-taught just by playing video games. I didn't, I didn't do anything else. I just kind of got on the game one day, and I've been figuring it out ever since. Just practice, really. Trying to stay consistent, trying to keep, you know, whatever level of skill I have, trying to keep that level sharp. You know, like I said, I'm not a pro or nothing. The only advice I can give people, if you're trying to switch to mouse and keyboard or you're already there, is just practice a few minutes every day. Keep the skills sharp. You're going to play how you practice. If you don't practice, it's going to show in your gameplay. Now, granted, gameplay is practice too, but in order to practice with just gameplay, you have to adjust your game, right? You have to change the way you play to get better. You have to start taking more fights so you can learn what you're doing wrong. The more fights you get into, the more you start to realize, okay, I'm getting into a lot of fights. I'm over swiping a lot. I'm overshooting my target. I'm undershooting my target. The more you see that in game, then you know what you have to adjust. And sometimes it's adjusting your DPI. Sometimes it's your sense. And sometimes it's just training your arm, training your hand, training your fingers, training the muscles in your wrists to better adjust for those things. And that's why I do specific scenarios that it's things that I repetitively see in game. Like that scenario right there was, you know, counter strafing. Strafing is in every FPS game. I do target switching, you know, for sniping. Things like this. I snipe in games, so I like to do small targets that switch. It's all about flicking and landing on target, timing your shot right. This is stuff I do in game, so I practice scenarios like what I do in game. And the thing I just mentioned that I try to do is I try to focus on not over swiping. I try to land as close to my target as possible and then do a small micro adjustment, because in game you got to be quick sometimes, right? Sometimes you only get that half a second, quarter of a second. You only get one shot. You only get one chance. So you want to be able to get on target as quickly as possible. If you over flick or under flick, you want to be able to do a quick micro adjustment to your target. You're not going to be perfect, but you want to look as close to perfect as possible. And that's where quick micro adjustments come in. And like I said, you're going to play how you practice. And I practice these scenarios so that when I play, it feels natural. So 93%, that's my high in the scenario. That's the high. But by the time I get in game, I'm not surprised when I'm put in these situations where I do have to flick at someone and snipe, where I do have to flick at someone and take a quick shot. Because I practice it so much that by the time I'm in the game, none of it feels new. It all feels natural. My wrist, hand, fingers, my muscles, my ligaments, my tendons remember, like, oh, we've practiced this all the time. Flicking, getting on target, quick micro adjustments. So in the game, it's natural. I don't get nervous. Hand doesn't shake, hand doesn't twitch. It's everything we've practiced every day, or whenever you can. You may not get to practice every day. That's okay. Practice wherever you can. A couple minutes. Trust me, even 5 minutes, any chance you get, it adds up over time. It makes a difference in game. So, see, my high here is 96%. I got 90% on that one. So I know I could do better, but I'll take 90%. Oh, that's not the scenario I wanted. Let's do some control stuff. Again, it's always good to work on these different scenarios because it's not all just about swiping or flicking or tracking or fast tracking, I should say. Sometimes it's the slow tracking like this that helps. Like I said, these scenarios like this where you're slow tracking micro adjustments, these are the ones that really train you to not panic mid-game, right? You gotta do micro adjustments. Someone's strafing on you, someone's playing a head glitch, someone's playing far, and they're moving across on a field. You want to train these little muscles in your hand because that's how you're gonna get those tracking shots. That's how you're gonna get those shots off. You gotta practice this stuff. If you don't practice this stuff and you go in game and you find yourself missing shots where you could potentially be getting kills because, again, you haven't trained your hand for those little micro adjustments. You haven't trained your hand for that small smoothness without shakiness. And in game, you never know which scenario is going to be the one that wins you the game or loses you the game, right? So you practice and you train. Body's ready. So I like scenarios like this. These are the ones that keep me in control when I have to hit those key snipes, let's say. Hey, there's a guy on a hill. Look, he's head glitching. And he keeps moving back and forth because he sees me and I see him. But I gotta get the shot off because he's holding my team. Alright, so the more I practice, these little small muscle fibers in my wrist, in my fingers, my hand. And by the time I'm in game and I'm in this situation, it's like, oh, I've practiced this. I've been here before. I know what this feels like. And I won't really be caught off by surprise when I gotta do it in game. You know, and I'm not perfect, obviously, which is why I practice. I practice because I'm not perfect. That's literally it. I practice because I'm not perfect. And I vary it up. I don't stick to one scenario all the time. I vary it up because, again, I want to practice the way the game's going to play. In game, you're not always just going to be sniping. Sometimes you'll be in the middle of sniping, and the next thing you know, you're fighting somebody close who's strafing on you, you know? So then I like to switch my scenarios. This is all about smoothness. Like I said, try not to avoid jitteriness. Jitteriness. And the way you avoid that is practicing. Train your hand, your wrist, train your muscles. Train your muscles to be smooth. The more you practice it, the more normal it feels. By the time you're in game, your brain remembers, hey, I've been here before, I've done this before. I don't gotta get nervous or jumpy. I don't gotta get caught by surprise. If a person just runs across my screen, I'm ready to track them. If they start strafing, I'm ready to get back on target smoothly, quickly, hit more shots. That's the whole ball game, really. It's your practice. Just putting in the time. Like, I get it, this might seem boring to some people, but I have a perfectionist personality, so I enjoy training. And I don't just mean video games. I'm the type of person who, you know, when I exercise, when I work on my health, I like to train by myself. I'm not the gym goer. I'm not the type where I care about people watching me. I like to train by myself. I'm in my own head because I have goals that I set for myself. And because I set those for myself, I'm the only one who knows them. So I don't care who's watching me. I prefer that people aren't watching me. I know what I'm after when I train, whether it's for FPS games, whether it's in real life or my health. I know what I'm training for. And so I'm the only person who I worry about watching. I don't care about anyone else watching. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to goals and perfectionism. But I've always been that way. That's not a new thing, you know? I know I'm not perfect, but what up, Nell? I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Just doing some little morning aim training. I had some time this morning. So, talking through my process, talking through my state of mind as I'm training, why I train, things like that. But appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna try to be entertaining. I'm not sure. I said this earlier. I don't know how entertaining aim training can be for people, but I'm just talking through my process so people understand why I aim train and why I do specific scenarios, you know. It makes sense in my brain, but like this is a flicking scenario. This is one of the things that helps me with sniping. When my team calls out, I want to be able to flick to the target as quickly as possible and make small micro adjustments, because I might only have a quarter of a second to get that shot off. I might only have a half a second to get that shot off from the time I see the person or my team calls out. So this isn't so much about, it's not that I'm trying to go fast. It's the flick that I'm focusing on. How quickly can I get to the next target and do a small micro adjust to get the hit? So how fast I'm going is not important. It's the micro adjustment that's important to me. And making sure that once I micro adjust, I'm only clicking once. You know, I don't want to click 2, 3, 4 times per target. You know, because in game, remember, let's say you're sniping in game, snipers tend to reload slow. That's why I said you might only get that first shot. So the focus on a scenario like this is when I flick, I want to be able to flick, one shot, flick, one shot, flick, one shot. I don't want to be clicking 2 or 3 times every time I flick. You want to try to get that target on the first shot. So my goal is, if I flick and I go over, I want to micro adjust, get the target. If I flick and go over, I want to micro adjust, micro adjust, micro adjust, micro adjust. And that's what I'm practicing. I don't care about the score. I don't care about any of that. I'm trying to practice flick, micro adjust, one click, flick, micro adjust, one click. You know, like that's what I'm practicing. That's the goal in my head. I don't care what the scenario is measuring me on. I don't care that the scenario said, oh, you only did 100. You know, last time you did 120. I don't care about that. I'm trying to build muscle memory in my wrist. You see, I only did 99. My high score is 132, but I did 96%, which is better than my high score of 92%. And so this 96% to me means more, because it just means that I was more accurate, and accuracy is what I'm training to do. I want this practice to translate into the games. And the thing that translates over into the games is the accuracy. Hold on, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the delay there. Let's see. Look for other scenarios. Control tracking. Actually, let's look at my warm-up. I have some custom lists here that I do some strafe scenarios. Again, it's all based on game training. In game, when you're fighting a player and they're strafing in front of you, these are the things I train for. So by the time I get in game and it happens, I'm ready. You're not gonna catch me by surprise, especially in games like Call of Duty or Apex, where there's a lot of strafing, there's a lot of sliding. The more you practice this stuff, and you practice with intent, like what I mean is, I don't care about my score here. I care about my accuracy, but I'm watching how smooth my wrist is. I'm watching how smooth I'm moving. I don't want shakiness. I don't want jitteriness, because shakiness and jitteriness means missed shots, and it means being off target more. So I'm focusing on being smooth, and when every time my target switches directions, how quickly can I get back on target? That's my focus when I aim train. The stuff that's going to translate into the game itself. Because this high score, this doesn't mean anything. When you try to translate this over to the game, this high score doesn't mean. The things that mean something are my accuracy percentage. I was 53.42% accurate. That means I hit just over 50% of my shots on target. That's going to translate to the game. Visually, how smooth I'm moving side to side, that's going to translate to the game. You know, if I'm shaking a lot, if I'm jittery, that's going to translate to the game, and that's going to mean missed shots, especially the more your target strafe. So there's fundamentals that I'm focusing on outside of what the aim trainer is trying to tell me. I like accuracy. I don't care for score. You know, how quick, like I said, when it changes direction, how quickly can I get back on target? Because the quicker I can get back on target, that means the quicker I can get a kill on my enemy who's playing against me in game. And those are the things that matter. %53%. So little lower than before, 53.21 versus 53.42. But I was basically there, right? I was at 53%. You know, I do glider for the same reason. In game, somebody jumps from a building or someone's parachuting across the sky. You know, being able to track them smoothly. This is one of those scenarios where being smooth matters a lot. And so that's my focus here is, all right, how smooth can I be as I'm tracking this person? 47%. I've done better. I've done 51% for my high. But 47% is not terrible. No? But again, it's just practice. It's repetition. It's not about being perfect. It's not about beating your high score all the time. It's not about beating your high accuracy record all the time. It's just a consistency. If I'm consistently within, let's say, 5% of my average of my high score, then that's a win for me, because that means I'm being consistently accurate. Now it'd be different if my high score was 50% and then I'm getting 30% and 25%, then that's a far deviation from my high score. But if my high score is 50% and I'm constantly, 45%, 46%, 44%, I'm there. I'm close enough where at least I'm being consistent. So the things that I keep in mind when I'm practicing. I have a target. I have a goal that I'm focusing on. Same thing with this. This is another scenario in game. Somebody's strafing in front of you and they jump. They're jump shooting you. They're ducking. They're crouching. So these are the scenarios that I practice. I practice these a lot. So when I'm in game and somebody's in front of me strafing and jumping and they're trying to jump shot me, it's like, oh, I've been here before. I've seen this. I have the muscle memory for this situation. You're going to play like you practice. I keep saying it. You're going to play like you practice. If you don't practice, it's going to show in your play. $58.8%. That's my highest score ever. I just got it right now. But again, if you look at the consistency here, like if you see where I started, this goes back to 2022. We're in June 2026. In May of 2022, look how low my score was. Again, and the more I kept practicing, look at these dips. I had good days, I had bad days. I had good sessions, I had bad sessions. But you can see from where we started in 2022 all the way down here on the left. And quite literally 4 years later, look how much better my accuracy has gotten. Out of 293,000 players, I'm in the top 10,000. That's a win. That's a win for me. And again, the practice is showing here. You're gonna have good and bad sessions. You're gonna have good and bad days. But keep at it. Practice. That's why by the time I get in game, I appreciate when people tell me that, I look accurate. My gameplay looks good. I appreciate when people tell me that, but it's because I practice. It's not. I don't mean to be arrogant by any means, because I understand the work I put in to be able to play a certain way, to be able to get those kind of reactions, and I always appreciate them. I never take any of it for granted. Hold on, I'll be right back once again. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm back. All right, so let's do another one. I don't even remember what Valorant diagonal flicks are. So again, this is like a sniping scenario. How quickly can you flick and get on target with a micro adjustment? No, and you don't want to click multiple times. You want to make sure you're on target, micro adjust, on target, micro adjust, on target, micro adjust. You know, you don't play like you practice. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's so important. I think a lot of people don't realize it. I practice these scenarios so that when I'm in game, nothing catches me by surprise. Someone just pops up on a hill, someone just pops up on a head glitch, someone pops up on a window, someone pops up at a door, at a hallway. I'm not surprised in game because I've been practicing this. I'm ready to flick over. I'm ready to flick over. Pops up on a window, I'm ready. Pops up on a head glitch, I'm ready. Pops up at a hallway, I'm ready. Pops up at a door, I'm ready. You know, I practice how I play. I only do scenarios that I'm gonna see in game. I don't do grid box. I don't do any of that stuff. Because in game, you're not gonna see grid box. I just realized the scenario is like 3 minutes. You know, I don't focus on scenarios that I'm not gonna see in game. Because like, why? You know what I'm saying? What is practicing something that's not gonna be in the game gonna do for me in the game? Right? That seems silly almost when you think about it. Like, watch, I'm gonna look up grid box because I know a lot of people who start aim training. They start with grid box and they get really fast, but it's like, what's grid box gonna do? Let me see if this is it. I want to be able to show you the scenario like this, like grid shot. Like a lot of people start with this and they think like, oh, this helps me flick, but it doesn't. It doesn't to a degree. Because once you start doing this, if you think about it, you're only aiming between this predetermined square here. But in a real game, you're gonna go from this guy to somebody over here, to somebody over here, to somebody over here, to somebody over here. You know, you gotta track someone who's strafing back and forth, and the target will be much smaller. So maybe if grid box was like tiny and more spread out. What up, Roughneck? I'm chilling. I'm doing good. I'm just doing some morning aim training and just kind of walking, speaking out loud about my thought process when I aim train, why I aim train, why I do specific scenarios. You know, yeah, I'm just trying to help people understand like when you train, there's certain things you should be thinking about, certain things you should be focusing on. Like you should practice with intent. Like don't do aim training, don't do any kind of training. Even in life, I keep saying this, it's not just about aim training. Even in life, you want to exercise, right? You want to get better. You want to get stronger, you want to get faster, you want to lose weight. You should do focused training. If you want to get stronger legs, then you need to work your legs. If you want to become a better runner, you need to run. But have an intent, understand that you're not going to become a better runner after one run. It's going to take you time and accept that. And so when I aim train for the games, that's the thing I keep talking about. I focus on scenarios that I'm going to specifically see in the game. You know, like one of the things I showed here was like strafing like this. In the game, I'm going to be playing against players who are moving back and forth. So I train that way. I don't always train against a static target, someone who's just standing in front of me not moving, because that doesn't really happen a lot in game. It does happen. But what happens if you're not used to somebody moving and you don't practice? Well, when you get to the game and somebody's moving, you're gonna miss your shots because you don't practice that, and you lack the muscle training. Your hand is gonna be shaking, your wrist is gonna be shaking because you've never practiced that. So now your brain is like, I've never seen this before, and you're gonna panic. But if you practice it all the time, guess what? You pop up in game. Oh snap! There's a guy in front of me mid game. I practiced this before. I don't gotta get nervous. You see my wrist, my aim is smooth. My target switching is smooth because I practice it. I'm not surprised by it. It's not surprising to me. It's not new. I've seen this before. And I feel like that's something people need to do when it comes to aim training. Train with intent. What is your goal? What are you bad at that you're trying to get better at? What happens in game a lot that you keep dying to? What do you see in game that you're dying to? Oh, people strafe too fast for you. People strafe too much for you. Okay, then maybe you need to practice strafing scenarios if that's what you keep losing to. Yeah, after a while, it just becomes muscle memory. So when in game, when it happens, oh, this guy jumps on my screen and he's strafing. Oh yeah, I practice that all the time. I'm not surprised by it. You know, if I'm sniping, again, and I said this too, in my practice, I go back and forth between scenarios. I don't spend too much time on one scenario because in game, I might be sniping one moment and then I got to move around the map. And then the next thing you know, somebody's in front of me and I got to go to strafe, or vice versa. I'm fighting in a building and I kill the guy. Boom, I reload, I get my stuff ready. And then when I come outside this building and I'm looking at a mountain, now there's a guy up there sniping. So now, boom, I got to switch to sniper. I got to be ready to flick. So then I go to this scenario because, hey, guy's not strafing anymore. I'm sniping. He's out in the distance. I got to be ready to flick. You know, my team's calling out. Yo, sniper on the hill, sniper on the roof. And I got to be ready to make that shot for my team, right? So I practice that. I switch scenarios right away. I don't stick with one scenario over and over and over again. And so that's the intent I talk about when you practice. I practice the way I know the game's gonna play. I know that in the game, stuff changes fast. So I gotta be ready for those changes. I know that in the game, I snipe. So I practice scenarios that help me with my sniping, that help me with my flick, that help me with my micro adjustments. Yeah, and that's why I practice, because you could barely see the dots. But guess what? The more I practice, the easier it gets for me. So, hold on, give me 2 seconds. I will be right back in 30 seconds. All right. We're back. I had to step away for 1 second, but how long we been at this? almost an hour, you know. So I'm training here for almost an hour. I wouldn't recommend to people necessarily. I wouldn't say that you need an hour. Um, but again, I do it for fun. I enjoy practice. It's something I said earlier in the stream. I enjoy practicing, not just aim training, but even when I exercise at life, I like repetition. I like focus. I like building the muscle memory. Like Roughneck said, the more I feel like I'm building the muscle memory, the more natural everything feels. Um, by the time I'm in the game, everything feels natural. Like this is a good counter strafe exercise for the game. This happens a lot in almost any FPS game where there's a target in front of you and you gotta strafe while shooting at them. And you know, I practice with small targets because in the game, the player hitboxes are always bigger. So the better I get at training with these small targets, guess what? By the time I get in game, the hitboxes being so much bigger, I'm just gonna be that much more accurate in game. And again, you're gonna play like you practice. So if I practice counter strafing, guess what? By the time I get to the game, it feels natural. Helps me stay on target more. You know, and it's the little thing. It's the little things compounded over time. It's the little that help you stand out. And they seem tedious and boring, and I get that. But these are the things that are gonna make you better. The more I practice this here, by the time I'm in the game, nothing surprises me. Nothing catches me on guard. There's nothing I can then say like, oh my god, I should have strafed there, you know, or oh my god, he was strafing on me and I couldn't keep up with him. No man, because I practiced that. Like right now, this is a static target, right? I'm the one strafing. Okay, well, I'm gonna show you the next scenario where it's gonna be more like in game. Because like I said, in game, my target's not always just gonna be standing still there while I'm strafing. Not unless it's a bad player. But okay, so instead of a non-static static target, what if it's a target that's also moving and jumping and strafing back and forth? And I'm strafing too, because we're both trying to shoot each other, but none of us are trying to get shot, right? So he's strafing, I'm strafing. See, when I practice this here, by the time I get to the game, I've seen this before. I'm not surprised by this. Oh, he's jump shooting? Great, I practiced that. Because it's all about my reaction. When he jumps, get on target as quickly as I can. He ducks, jumps. This is literally like playing the game. I see this in the game all the time. And I'm ready for it. You know, the bunny hopping in Call of Duty. In any game, really. I see it in Battlefield. I see it in Apex. I see it in Fortnite. With jump shooting. Strafing, jump shooting. They slide, jump. Oh, he's jumped again. But I'm ready. I practice it. The more I practice it, the more ready I am. No, rinse and repeat. No, same thing now. Not a static target anymore. He's moving, I'm moving. We're both counter strafing. I don't know when he's gonna turn, so I have to be ready to react to that. He might be closer to me. He might be further from me. What if I back up? No? What if I get closer? What if he gets closer? Am I ready to react if he's closer versus when he's further? Because this matters. You gotta move your mouse more or less, depending on the distance. Right in my face. Can I keep up with him changing directions? They're the things that I practice. Same thing. If he backs up, further away, my micro adjustments have to be better, because the further you are, the less you're gonna move your mouse. Versus the closer you are, the more you're gonna move your mouse. But again, you don't know what's gonna happen in games, so that's why you practice them both. Now, that's the beauty of training. Watching yourself improve, watching yourself get better. Training with intent, training with a purpose. Not just training for the high score in the game. But my intent here is smoothness, target acquisition, flicking back on target, staying on target, practicing close targets versus far targets for the game, getting ready for that. Counter strafing. No, far target, counter strafing. Close target, counter strafing. I practice it all. I want to be ready for the game. That's my intent. That's my goal when I practice. Back up. Or close up the gap mid-fight. Open the gap mid-fight. The more I practice these things, the more intent I have when I aim train, the easier the game. Like I said, I appreciate when people tell me that I made a good play and things like that. I appreciate it because I know the work I put into it. But I appreciate when people recognize it, because it's like, oh, that's the practice we put in. That's all that time we put in during practice when nobody was seeing it in game and people are seeing it. And that's why I do it. Like, I practice so that when I get to the game, it all translates and the game just feels that much easier. %46.38%. This is literally my highest score ever in this scenario. Doing it live, but it's because I'm focused. I'm talking, but I'm focused. Because it's just like in game. In game, when you're making out callouts, so you're in the middle of a gunfight while also telling your team what's going on. You're not always just gonna be silent. And you see that with a lot of people. They get quiet once they get into a gunfight because they're trying to lock in. But that's part of the game too. Part of the game is you have to be mid-fight and be able to give out comms to your team. You gotta be able to keep communicating while your brain is active on one thing, thinking on a secondary thing. All these things matter. All these things are important. Like, the more you practice them, here it gets. Here it gets. Practice them. It never really ends. You know? Never really ends. But these are fast strafe micro adjustments. Again, the small muscle fibers. Somebody's playing you on a hill, or somebody's playing you on a roof, or on a head glitch, and they're moving back and forth. But micro adjustments, you got to train those muscles. You got to be ready for that in game, because it can happen. And if you don't train, you're never going to kill this target. Moving on. You don't train those small muscle fibers. You don't know how to move, how to make small adjustments with your mouse. Never practice it. I did. I'm ready because I do it. I built my aim training scenarios with scenarios. And like I said earlier before, my only focus here when I aim train is the accuracy percentage. I do not care about my high score. That's the aim trainer cares about that. I don't care about that. I want accuracy because accuracy tells me I'm gonna hit more shots on my target when I'm. So that's my focus. Hitting more shots. Shots hit versus shots fired. Look, it tells you on the pop-up. Shots hit versus shots fired. This is what directly transfers to the game. So that's my focus, is when I'm shooting somebody in the aim trainer, how accurate am I? Because when I go to the game, I want to be as accurate as I can. The more accurate you are, the faster you can eliminate your opponent. Like I said, smoothness and getting back on target when they switch directions. These are my focus. This is my intent when I. 54%. Highest score ever on this scenario. All live. Because I've been here for an hour. I've been here for an hour and 8 minutes. Aim training. Over and over. Over and over. Focusing. Aim training with intent. Things that I want to accomplish. But I'm gonna wrap it there. It's been an hour, like I said. I don't recommend anyone aim trains for an hour. Unless you have an hour, do it. But you don't want to overtire yourself. You don't want to over encumber your brain. I do it because it's fun for me. I enjoy aim training, but this is what it is, you know. This is what it is. I enjoy aim training. It's fun for me. It might seem boring to some, and I can understand if you're not the one doing it. I can understand why it might seem boring, but it's not for me because I'm looking to translate this into the game. You know, I did the scenario earlier here. This is something that I see in game. Person strafing, crouching, jumping. This directly transfers to the game. So the more I practice this, I'm not surprised when I'm in game and somebody's trying to jump on me or strafe on me or crouch on me. Like, I've practiced this. I've seen this before. I'm not surprised by this. And my intent here, my focus is be smooth. When I'm following this person, just be smooth. Try not to be shaky or jittery. Train with intent. That's my thing. I always say, train with intent. Like, what are you trying to fix? What are you trying to get better at? What are you doing wrong right now in game that you should be focusing on when you practice? Does your mouse shake a lot? Okay, then you gotta focus on smooth. You know, are you having trouble tracking? Okay, then you need to work on more strafing scenario. Is it reactivity? You know, do you react too late when people move? Okay, well, work on strafe scenarios. Get used to people moving. Focus on that. So 60%, that's my focus. Accuracy. Accuracy is my goal. I don't care about score. Accuracy is my goal. 60% means I hit more shots than I missed. That's my goal. You know, same thing. I'm a sniper. I tend to be a sniper for my teams. So I'm going to focus on scenarios that have to do with flicking. Flicking and micro adjustments. Being able to get on that person fast, take that shot. I might only have one shot. So I got to be able to flick and get that shot off. Flick, get that shot off. Flick, get that shot off. I practice this, so when it happens in game, I'm ready. I'm not surprised by it. Oh, it's a small target? Exactly. Because somebody might be 200-300 meters away from you. But But you got to get that shot off because maybe they're sniping you. They're 300 meters away. They're hitting you. They're hitting your team. You got to get that shot off. It's a small target. You know, your target is about the same size as the crosshair. But if I practice this here, by the time I get in game, I'm ready. I'm not surprised by it. Oh, hit a small target in the distance? Yeah, I practice that all the time. Flick over to a target my team called out? Yeah, I practice that all the time. I'm ready. I'm ready. I practice with intent. Look, 93.55%. My best is 94%. So I'm within that margin. I'm within 1% of my best. And this is another thing I said earlier. Don't focus on the score. Focus on your accuracy. I try to be within 5% of my best score. If I can consistently hit within 5% of my best score, then I'm being consistent. Like, even if I did 90% right now, that 90% is still within the 94% of my best score. So as long as I'm consistently here, 90%, 92, 93, 89%, as long as I'm consistently there, I'm doing well. My skill is holding. And so that's how I practice with intent. That's my measurement when I practice. That's what I'm looking for. All right, I said I was gonna wrap, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap there. I appreciate whoever did watch, Roughneck, Nell, anybody else who may have lurked, didn't say anything. Um, I think I'm gonna convert this to a video. It's on my page and people watch it back and try to get some tips out of this. But this is just, like I said, this is casual aim training. I'm not a pro. I'm not trying to be a pro. Um, I'm just a lifelong controller player who decided I wanted to play mouse and keyboard a couple years ago. I've been doing it since, and I practice because I know I need it. I know that I need it. No, if I'm not constantly practicing, I'll lose it. I'm not naturally gifted like that at mouse gameplay. So for me, I need to practice. Some people are naturally gifted and they don't need to practice, and more power to them. But I can identify, for me, I'm not a natural mouse and keyboard player, so I need to practice, and I enjoy it. So it's not a deal breaker for me. I'm not losing anything. I enjoy all the practices that I do. But yeah, I appreciate everybody. And for now, that's all I got.